Welcome to a workshop offered by the University of Kentucky's Office of Work Life. We are so excited today to be offering this workshop to educate our parents about gaming and technology as it relates to their children. We have a special guest with us today. We have Cody Dean. He is a gaming and technology specialist at the Kentucky Children's Hospital. So thank you so much, Cody, for being with us. And we are very much so looking forward to hearing all the great information you have to share with us today. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day, and just thank you all for coming here to be a part of this. As part of my position at Kentucky Children's Hospital, I do promote gaming, but I also promote responsible gaming, and we want our kids, our patients, and everyone to be safe while they're in the gaming world, if you would. And so, gaming is such a huge part of what we see as part of our kind of social norm today. There's around 90%, which I think that number may be a little low, but there's around 90% of all or all households in America have a gamer of some sort in their home. And so no doubt many of you have been exposed to gaming or have seen it. And so for me, my goal with this today was to be able to help educate, uh, help you introduce you to some of the tools that can help your children be safe while they're gaming, because I know it can be a daunting task to step into something that you may not have experience with. And so I appreciate you stepping out and coming to this and being a part of that. So um, today our presentation's called Game On and Guard Up. And we're going to look at some of the different tools that we can use to help our kids game responsibly as well as be safe while they do it. And we're going to talk about a few different things that kind of go along with that. So, the first thing we're going to talk about today is parental controls. And so, parental controls is a very useful tool for us to have to be able to set limits, to be able to help our kids understand like the protections that we're putting in place and all that good stuff. So with that, I just want to share some stats as we start. So. Um, Understanding the benefits with safety, we need to understand the benefits and limitations of parental controls on apps. Not every parental control app or website is perfect. What I've found so far in my experience is that some apps offer some things that may work with one family, and then other apps offer something that would be beneficial for a different family. And so, getting in and looking at these apps and doing your research is really important to understand and see. Um, what would work best for you and your family. So parental controls also vary from console to console, but they typically offer like some standard options in there, like time control, the amount of time they can control, protecting from your kids purchasing. I'm sure everyone here has heard the horror stories of you look at your credit card statement and your child has spent $1,000 and you didn't realize it, stuff like that. So that can be really scary. And so these apps go to help protect and give purchase permissions so that you're notified before your child makes any purchases. And parental controls on gaming systems offer benefits, like I said, is limiting screen time, controlling access to age-appropriate content, managing in-game purchases, ensuring safety and privacy, setting boundaries, and monitoring gameplay. So you can actually see, without having to stand over their shoulder, you can actually see how much time your child is spending in-game. So these are important tool for us to be able to protect our kids. So some stats with this. Um, 42% of parents have actually talked to their children about safe gaming. In what I've done so far at the hospital, what I've found is that parents are either fully involved with their child's gaming, they're playing games with their kid, stuff like that, or they're not at all, and they're like, I'm just not interested, which is totally fine. I'm not interested. I don't want to get interested. I don't want to have anything to do with it. And so, 42% of those who are involved have talked to their kids about safe gaming. Only 37% of parents have set up parental controls on their kids' games. Um, I think with that, one of the important things we need to understand is that there's a lot that kids can be exposed to in on especially online gaming. So So setting up those parental controls are just so extremely important to be able to protect our kids in that. And so, as a gaming and tech specialist, I would love to see that number jump dramatically. And then the parents who did set up parental controls, 80% said that it was actually easier than what they thought to actually set up those controls. And so it's daunting to think about, but it's actually a lot easier in practice to put together parental control apps. I have a 12-year-old, so I've been using apps for several years now that for parental controls. It has drastically gotten better and easier to set up, and it's not a headache to have to deal with, or something that your phone's getting blown up all the time, or whatever it may be. It is a lot easier today than it was even 3, 4 years ago to be able to help set up those parental control apps. So, an overview, just so we can see the different terms that we're dealing with. And I know my head is blocking part of the screen, so I apologize for that. But some of the core features is screen time management, so setting daily or weekly time limits for gaming, ensuring that children balance gaming with other activities. So some apps will allow you to control it so it's almost like an allowance. So maybe you want your children to do a chore, or you want them to do their homework, or you want them to, if you for our kids are all in sports, so after practice, if you do really good in practice, you can, have this amount of time to game. So it allows you to manage that screen time and kind of give out the screen time like it's an allowance, where you can just set those limits so they don't spend all day every day on games. It also has app and game blocking, so it restricts access to specific games or apps based on age appropriateness or content in the games. Content filtering, so filtering or blocking inappropriate websites, chat interactions, and other online content. Activity monitoring and reporting tracks which games are played, how long they're played for, and potentially concerning online interactions. I'll get to more of it in just a minute, but personally, I use the app called Bark for device management for my kids. And so it's not gaming specific, but it's set up for to give reports back on interactions with like text messages and stuff like that. Our oldest has a cell phone that we keep heavily tracked and placed in that. And so, it gives us reports every day of anything that could be potentially concerning, or if there's not anything, which is always good to hear the positive too. And then location tracking. Some apps offer location tracking. Also, like with Bark, you can request a check-in. So if your child is as we explore middle school sports, I make my children check in, or my child check in when he rides the school bus to an away game or something like that, just to make sure they made it safely. You can also see real-time information on your child's whereabouts. So that's kind of a very broad stroke overview. There's a lot more specifics to it, but that's kind of the overview of what parental controls can offer you. So choosing the right app. Consider the following factors when you're selecting an app for gaming or for devices. So, compatibility, you want to make sure the app supports the devices and gaming platforms that your children use. So, some of those popular platforms, of course, is PC gaming, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch. There are, gaming handhelds, all kinds across the board, but make sure that the device or the app itself is compatible with the device that your child uses. Some features, choose an app with features that best address your specific concerns. So if your child plays a lot online, then maybe an app with online interaction monitoring would be best, or blocking online interactions or chat altogether would be great. Ease of use, for me, I want to use something that is easy to use. I don't want to have to go in and have to follow a YouTube video of how to set something up and how to do. I want it to walk me through those steps to be able to set it up on my children's devices. So, you want to make sure it's easy to use, and also price. Unfortunately, a lot of these apps do come at a cost. These are businesses trying to build their business, and I love what they're doing in their mission. Making sure that price is there, or you see the price and understand the charge that you'll receive for that, and other subscription options. Sometimes apps will offer different tiers of their plan. So they may, for $9 or $10 a month, they may offer one level, and for 15, they may offer a higher level of protection, stuff like that. So make sure you check into all the different tiers that those offer. So some popular apps that we see here: Bark, Norton Family, Net Nanny, Microsoft Family Safety, all of these here, and you'll be getting a list of this. You'll be getting this presentation, but all these apps offer all kinds of different stuff that will be good for everyone. So uh, like I said, personally, our family uses Bark for our devices, electronic devices. Bark does not use go on game systems. So, like with some game systems, which I'll demonstrate here in just a few minutes, you you can use the specific game system apps to be able to control some of that stuff. So, a lot of these are really good for protecting your child on YouTube, on a browser, on text messages, stuff like that, to be able to make sure your child is being safe while they're interacting with others. Here are some of the gaming specific parental control apps. So on your left is the Xbox Family Settings app. The orange, the second one there is the Nintendo Switch parental controlled app. There's not an Epic Games app right now. There may be on Android. I'm an iPhone guy myself, but there's an Epic Games parental controls website that you can look at and see and be able to go through and be able to control everything that you need to for your child. And this last app, the ESRB app, and we'll get into ESRB ratings here in just a little bit. It's not a control app, but it's really good for information to be able to search a game and see that see what's in the game, see if it's something that you would find appropriate for your child. And so you can the ESRB app is amazing for information purposes. So I'm going to swap over and try to mirror my phone screen. I figured this out earlier, so hopefully it'll work this time. But so with this, let's see if it'll work. All right, so here's my phone screen. You can see right now I'm actually in the Xbox Family app. And so with this, you can go through, you can set up different profiles if you have multiple children. I actually use this to manage some of the hospital's gaming systems. So right now at the Kentucky Clinic, I have a profile set up for them. So so with this, like you're not able to add friends unless there's approval needed, and we do make specific exceptions for that if a patient is here and wanting to play with a sibling, stuff like that. We can work some of that stuff out. There is no online communication allowed. We have disabled any messaging so that no inappropriate messages are being sent out. There's also an age filter, so 13 and under is the only content that's allowed, as well as games that we want to set more specific settings on, like Minecraft Dungeons, Fortnite, any other games like that. So there's no, of course, no spending allowed. Uh, Approvals required for our patients or your children to be able to even access online play, as well as cross network play. Now, cross network or cross platform, that may be some stuff that you run into as your child games. So if your child has a PlayStation, there's cross play games. Xbox or like Fortnite. Fortnite is a great one, a great example of this. You can play with children or people that are on PC as well as Switch and Xbox. It's a cross-platform play game, so you can block if you want them to be specific to that game system itself, as well as cross-network communication. We block that as well. So screen time. We don't necessarily have it set up on this profile, but you can manage the screen time to change that to it actually has a schedule view. So if you know, hey, Monday through Friday, school, practice, whatever it may be, you can just set up however long you want that to be or a time range. So you're only allowed to play between, 6 and 7 in the evening or whatever it may be. You can set up that schedule to have that. So that's a basic overview of the Xbox app. We also have the Nintendo Switch personal control app. So with this, you can actually see the amount of time that has been played. So this is also on a switch that's been used in the hospital. So you can actually see how much time has been spent on each day. You can get averages of what they have spent and all that. You can get monthly summary of how many days have been played, the amount of time that's been played, and the games that were played the most. And then console settings, so you can set that playtime limit. You can set the age limit on the thing. So this is a switch in our teen lounge, so we have that restriction level set up to be for teen only. And then you can also control your parental control pin to make sure that they don't get around and change their settings with that. So we're gonna swap back to our main screen. Um, so that's kind of a broad overview of parental control apps. Remember that it's one tool of many. Parental control apps is just one tool in the toolbox. Open communication, setting clear expectations, and actively participating in your child's gaming experience are also crucial for promoting safe and responsible online gaming habits. Having that communication, even if you're not into gaming yourself, which again is totally fine, researching a little bit, meeting your kids where they're at, I think is a very important thing to be able to see and show even just a little interest can go a long way with your kids to be able to show that you do you are invested, you see, and that you can have that communication with them. For me, I grew up with parents who did not have any interest, any communication whatsoever with gaming. And so for me as a kid, maybe in my more mischievous times, I could have pulled off a game that probably wasn't most appropriate for a 13-year-old to play. And they one that was very popular back then was Grand Theft Auto. Horrible game. No business for a 13-year-old to be playing Grand Theft Auto. But anytime my parents saw it, I would just drive around in a car. And so my parents just assumed you just drove cars with it. So just doing a little research on the games that your children are playing can go a long way to help protect them from any content that may be inappropriate for them to participate in. So some of the online safety, this is kind of our second of third sections here. Online safety, this is a very important part of this. We have an opportunity to educate our kids about safe and positive gaming practices, encourage safe gaming by establishing healthy boundaries, limits on game time, limits on ESRB or the rating system appropriateness, and online chat rules. With my kids, and even with at the hospital, we have those clear expectations set up in our teen lounge where the only online interaction is really allowed. Um, we do limit chat, so there's no chat allowed in the hospital. And we do set up those exceptions. And once again, if they're playing with a sibling from home that they haven't been able to see or something like that. But just setting up those boundaries can go a long way to help your kids understand what those expectations can be. Promoting this can be beneficial. It allows us to connect with friends that they play with themselves. So for me, I know I play games for a living at the hospital, but I do a game with my kids from time to time, game as we play, and I can kind of see who they're connecting with. And as a parent, it helps me feel a little bit better as they're playing and knowing who they play with. 60% of kids are playing with school friends. 27% are playing with siblings. So you see that number is dropping pretty dramatically. As a parent of four boys and they get to play games together, it's a little quieter when they're not fighting with each other. They're over playing the same exact game and they get mad at each other. So sometimes a little better to play with friends depending on the night. They also 24% play with their parents. This drops to 14% after the age of 14. So as they become teenagers, that number drops dramatically as if they play with their parents. 23% are playing with online gamers or otherwise known as players they don't know, people they don't know. And that can kind of be the scary part of this. So back in March, I started the certification class for the gaming and technology specialist. And so we went to Boston to a convention. We did a breakout session with the National Foundation for Missing and Exploited Children, and they talked about online gaming and some of the things that can happen with that. And so some of the most exploited games for children are Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft, um, Call of Duty, some games like that. So many. I want to say first, don't panic if your child plays those games. There's safe ways to play those games, but those are some of the most online exposed games that are out there. Fortnite is extremely popular. Roblox is extremely popular. So with Roblox in particular, I heavily manage what my kids are exposed to on Roblox. We actually do not allow Roblox at all in the hospital. Roblox is a game that's called user-generated content. So almost everything is made by the community that plays the game. And so with that, Roblox took off way faster in popularity than I think what the developer originally anticipated. And so when that happened, it was kind of hard to keep up with the safety side of it as the content grew more and more. There's thousands and thousands of different modes added every day on Roblox. There is online chatting on Roblox. And it's not just the chatting that can be dangerous. It's also getting into what seemingly may be an innocent game on Roblox, and then there's something that may be inappropriate built into the map that you didn't see initially. So there's some stuff on Roblox. I would always encourage to be cautious with Roblox and what your children are exposed to on there. Just to be safe, I would definitely get involved with that and make sure you see the modes that they're playing and set up what Roblox parental controls they do have. Um, Fortnite has really done a good job of the parental controls. They just recently added, or not recently, in the last few years, I guess since 2020, really started focusing on that. And so they wanted to be able to parents to have the opportunity to safeguard what their children are exposed to on there. And so they've done a really good job with playing that. Fortnite is very popular in the hospital. Every time a patient plays Fortnite here, I'm either in the room with them or I'm playing with them, or parents or family, siblings, something like that. And you can block that online chatting. You can block anything that can happen with that. So, in talking with online gaming and kind of in that topic, a topic that I wanted to briefly cover is toxicity. Toxicity is something that if you have played online, if anybody's played online, you have been exposed to it in some degree. Um, I would absolutely say the most toxic community ever on any game whatsoever is Call of Duty. Fortnite has gotten a lot better about it, but toxicity is something that is serious and can damage, mental health for kids. It can make them a lot less enjoyable. Having open communication about being a good digital citizen with your kids can help make the gaming world a better place. These types of conversations can provide an opportunity for us all to curb toxic gaming culture and model good gaming interactions. In our interactions, it's important for us as parents to model good behavior even in competitive environments. Showing positivity and respect can help children make gaming much more fun. Gaming culture has a lot of lingo that, as parents, like I said, I've got two in middle school now. There's a lot of words that I have to go Google because I have no clue what they mean anymore. But yeah, so there's a lot there, but and a lot of behaviors that are accepted. But you can show the difference between banter and trash talk. I fully believe banter is totally fine, and getting competitive and playing. I'm a competitive person myself. A lot of times our patients, they respond very well. 99.9% of the time our patients respond very well to being competitive. They want to compete. They want to do something, and that's just part of the distraction at the hospital. But even our kids, a lot of our children can be competitive, and so we can teach them the difference between just banter and being like having a toxic trash talk um, environment. So. Um, I would encourage, and we'll get into this here in just a second, a little bit more with cyberbullying. But if you hear toxic behavior, if you hear, toxic chat, I would fully take advantage of that opportunity to have that conversation with your children, to be able to talk, whether it's them or someone they're the victim of toxicity. It's a good opportunity to talk and have this conversation about being good digital citizens in the gaming world. So protecting your child online and online safety. A lot of this is stuff that you probably already know, but I felt that it was important to talk about is using strong and unique passwords. So creating complex passwords, combination of letters, uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and symbols is very important. Avoid using easily guessable information like birthdays or pet names. Use a different password for each gaming account. Consider using a password manager to securely store and generate passwords. And then parents, I would just, this is a big one for me. I would not use your personal passwords like your banking passwords or your phone passwords, even your phone PIN codes. Do not use those as passwords for your gaming accounts. A lot of times, gaming accounts, I, I won't say a lot of times, when hacking or passwords are stolen, a lot of times it can happen in the online world. Sometimes your kid just doesn't understand or doesn't know, and they share their password thinking that they're sharing with someone that's safe to do so with. And so that password can get taken, that account can get stolen. And if your email is attached to that and your password is attached to that, then it can compromise your information as well as just your finances or whatever it may be, depending on what the password is. So I would just be very safe with that. If you're an iPhone user, um, with the new iOS update that just recently came out this week, there's an actual dedicated passwords app. It has been amazing for me to use. I've been doing the beta testing now for about 2 months, and it's amazing. It makes life a lot easier to remember passwords. You can use Face ID to access those passwords. You can even ask Siri to give you the password, so it's really super nice to have. Google also has password managers app, managing app, so it's really beneficial to have that. I would just encourage you, whatever platform you're on, to find a password managing app to be able to generate those passwords as well as keep them. And you can, as soon as you set up your child account, you can go in and set up the username that you set up for that gaming account and the password so that it can be easily remembered down the road. Secure your account information. Enabling two-factor authentication, or you'll see 2FA, whenever possible is an amazing actual layer of protection for your kids. So um, doing that a lot, you'll see that in, like, if you put your password in, then it'll text a code to your phone or whatever. It's really good to have that, or your email. It's really good to have that. Never share account information with anyone, even friends. I would definitely encourage your kids not to share any information with anyone, even those they feel safe with. And then be wary of phishing attempts. Do not click on suspicious links or provide personal details on unfamiliar websites or messages. Unfortunately, we are getting these phishing emails, and now it's text, it's phone calls, it's everything. And so it's very important to protect your email, even for you yourself as parents. If you get a link and it's someone acting like they're UPS and trying to drop off a package, do not click the link to, follow the information or follow the trail or whatever it may be. Um, I would reach out to UPS customer service if you are expecting a package. I would reach out on the phone and call them and do it that way, as opposed to following any links where your information can be compromised. Privacy settings. Familiarize yourself with privacy settings of each gaming platform and adjust them to the limit of sharing personal information. So you can, like on PlayStation, for example, on your profile, you can just have what's called your gamer tag, which is, like for me at the hospital, the gamer tag that I set up for work is KCH Gaming Tech. It's pretty obvious, but pretty straightforward, but it protects any information. Do not have my actual name on there or anything like that. You can do that on PlayStation. I believe you can do it on Xbox as well, but you can set it up where your actual name is not shown publicly on there. You can share how much just like Facebook or any social media, you can share how much your information is actually out there publicly. And parenthetically there, I put, make sure you read the fine print of agreements that you sign on to. I'm going to tell you, this is me being so guilty of not doing this in the past myself, but there's a lot of things, agreements that I've scrolled straight through to the bottom, hit agree just so I can get the account set up or get the game accessed, and just gone on about my day. But I would encourage you to read the fine print of stuff that you're agreeing to. Recently, and they're doing better about online safety with this and accountability with companies, but make sure you make sure you read that and set that up so that you're not agreeing that they can access your keyboard on your phone and they can see what you're typing or anything like that. It's just really a lot better and to take the time to read those agreements. So using a username that does not reveal their real name or any personal identifiers, and avoid using any real photos as profile pictures. Be mindful of online interactions. Never share personal information, full name, address, phone number, school with other players. Recently, there was a TikTok that went viral. There was a 8-year-old kid, I believe, that shared their personal information online on Roblox, and it was an older gentleman that actually came to their house to meet up with the child, and that's a very rare and very scary situation, but it is part of what's out there. And so it's very important not to share any personal information whatsoever with anyone. Anymore, it's not even safe to share, like, hey, I'm in the United States. I wouldn't even go that broad on where I'm located at. I would just say, no, I'm not going to share that information. It's just a lot safer and better. Be cautious when interacting with strangers online. Parents, I would encourage you to be a part of that conversation with your kids, to not interact with strangers, to only play with people that they know. And if they are playing with people they don't know, to mute that chat so that they do not get any of that toxic behavior or anything like that. Do not agree to meet with anyone in person that they've met online, and report any inappropriate behavior or suspicious activity to the gaming companies. So they have set up things for you to be able to report accounts, report players, so that that as they build these reports and stuff like that, they can see consistently who is maybe trying to reach out to children and stuff like that. So they're really good about banning these accounts and banning the devices that they actually play on. So they can't just go and set up a different profile under a different email. A lot of times they can get the actual information of the PlayStation or PC that they're playing on, and they can actually block that device itself from the game. Cyberbullying. This is something that has grown exponentially in the last 10 years, 15 years. And so here's some tips about cyberbullying for preventing it. Uh, Once again, it's communication. Talk to your child about cyberbullying and its potential consequences. Encourage them to come to you if they're being bullied or witness someone else being bullied, just so you know the interactions that are happening. Teach them to be responsible digital citizens and to treat others with respect online. Monitor their online activity and set limits to on-screen time. Install parental control software to block inappropriate content and track their online interactions. What to do if your child is cyberbullied: stay calm and supportive. Let your child know that it's not their fault and that you're there to help. Document the cyberbullying by saving screenshots or other evidence. So if you're seeing messages, typed out messages, or whatever it may be, um, you can please, please make sure to document that. Even if you have to pull out your phone and just take a quick photo of the screen, I would encourage you to do that. Document whatever you can so that you can put that in the report that you file with the gaming company. If cyberbullying is severe or involves threats of violence, then I would contact the police and seek professional help if your child is experiencing emotional or psychological distress due to cyberbullying. Um, Cyberbullying through social media, through online gaming, unfortunately, is just becoming so common. So that's why it's also important for us to be a part of this conversation with our kids. Your child online, educate, communicate openly, have regular conversations. Um, I would check in, once every couple weeks with your kid. Just having those regular conversations, consistent conversations with your child about online safety and privacy. Explain the importance of protecting their personal information as they get older. They need to be taught, and this is a good environment to be able to teach them about the importance of protecting that information. Teach them about the potential risk and consequences of sharing information online, and create a safe and open environment where they feel comfortable coming to you if they encounter problems or concerns while gaming, so that they do have that safe space to come to. So with that, we'll move into our final section here, ESRB ratings. This this with ESRB ratings is similar to movie ratings. These ratings are not legally binding, but serve as content-based recommendations for you as parents. The ratings are general statements and may not cover all aspects of the game. There may be things in the game that may slide past the reviewers, slide past those who rate the games, and so uh, you know approach that with caution. They offer a basic guideline for suitability, but may not provide a complete overview. Some adults may not be familiar with these ratings, so you may uh, make sure you get educated on what these ratings mean. I actually do have the broad overview of what these ratings are. So we'll go through this really quick. You have early childhood, E for everyone, E 10 plus, everyone 10 and up, teen, mature 17 and up, adults only 18 and up, and rating pending, which means that the game has not been rated yet. They're still working on that, and it'll be out. Um, a lot of times now games are rated before they're ever released, so that's a really good thing that they've stepped forward on. So, content for early childhood may be suitable for children ages 3 and up. It doesn't contain anything that parents would find or should, would potentially find inappropriate. E for everyone content is generally suitable for all ages, but it may contain minimal cartoon, fantasy, or mild violence, or infrequent use of mild language. Language, I know, is a different definition of what language is for each family, and so I would just look into some of the resources that I'll show you at the end before your child checks in and plays a game. Everyone 10 and up. Content is generally suitable for ages 10 and up, may contain more cartoon, fantasy, or mild violence, mild language, or minimal suggestive themes. T for teen is suitable for ages 13 and up, may contain violence, suggestive themes, crude humor, minimal blood, simulated gambling, which is not using real money. There's games out there that you can earn a currency in game that's not real money that's spent, and you can use that money to try to win something in game. And or infrequent use of strong language. That's where you kind of start getting into the strong language and the teen rating. Mature 17 and up is suitable for ages 17 and up, may contain intense violence, blood and gore, sexual content, and strong language. So for us at the hospital, any game that's rated mature is not allowed. We do not have it on any of our game systems in the hospital. So we just avoid that category altogether because there's games that are M-rated that may not actually have this stuff or may not have a ton of this stuff. So depending on where you're at in the game, stuff like that. So it may not look bad at one point, and then it may turn into something that would, make you want to cover your ears the next. So, and then adults only, this is for 18 and up. This is intense, violent, graphic sexual content and or gambling with real currency. There are not a ton of real game or adult only games out there. Here's a list of some of the games based on category that you may be familiar with. So, early childhood, Bluey games, Umizoomi, Elmo, Sesame Street games, stuff like that. E for everyone, Mario, sports games like MLB The Show, NBA 2K, and Madden, Just Dance, Animal Crossing, Fall Guys. 10 and up are some of the Lego games. So, a lot of the Lego games, there's a lot of cartoon violence in the games. There's not necessarily blood or anything like that, but there's a lot of cartoon violence. So that's why they're in that 10 and up category. Crash Bandicoot, Stardew Valley, Cuphead, Plants vs. Zombies, Need for Speed, Asphalt Legends, Minecraft, and Smash Brothers. T for Teen, you got Fortnite, Goat Simulator, Grounded, Spider-Man games, Destiny 2, Valorant, Cross Defiant, and It Takes Two. And then mature, you got your Elder Scrolls games like Skyrim, some others, Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption, Helldivers, Cyberpunk 2077, Silent Hill, Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, God of War. And then they did move post like the game's release. They did move Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, which came out years ago, but it's easily accessible. They did move that into the adult only category as well as Manhunt 2. So those are some of the games that fall under each category that your kid may or your child may or may not be exposed to. So beyond the ESRB rating, in evaluating the developmental suitability of games, certain children might meet the age criteria for a game, but developmentally it may not contribute positively to their growth. So when a child engages with a game that isn't developmentally appropriate, it can result in frustration and potentially diminish, their motivation to do other things. Checking games for matter triggers for children's like game with divorce, abuse, addiction, or any other subject, a matter that might be harmful is helpful to help screen what children are exposed to on games. A game that for us here is It Takes Two. It's an amazing what's called a couch co-op game, so you can sit down together and play two player. But for patients or children that have parents maybe going through divorce, it may be a subject matter trigger for them because the game is based on a child controlling doll versions of their kids going through all these mazes and co-op stuff, but their parents are ready to get a divorce, and they kind of go into some of that theme with that. So checking into some of those subject matter triggers is very important. It's the same for other games that might have death or accidents that could potentially trigger a trauma of a child's experience. So just check into those things and see what the game's about before you let your child play them. It's very important to do that. So once again, just because the game is age appropriate, it may not be developmentally appropriate. So I would definitely just check into that. So I'm about to share some resources with you, and some of these resources are a good place for you to check some of these things that we've talked about today. So Common Sense Media, FamilyGamingDatabase.com, Child's Play Charity. It's amazing. They provide information or technology grants for like my position in hospitals nation or worldwide, really. They have a guide on there that's really good too. That is based on it's geared towards patients like short-term patients, long-term patients, stuff like that, but it can also be used for your children. So if you're looking just for a quick game to cure some short-term boredom, like a game you can sit down and play in 30, 45 minutes to an hour, versus long-term boredom, I think it's a really good resource to check out. And then internetmatters.org. um, so with that, I would just share again that open communication is very important on these matters, and checking these resources is just a really good place to start to be able to help your child safely game online. So that's it for me. I want to ask now if you have any questions. We do have a couple in chat. So so we have a question here like, do you have to have an app, or is it setting the parental controls in the actual gaming system enough? So I would say personally, like with what I've seen with Xbox, you can do some of the stuff on the system itself, but it's not near what you can do in the app. PlayStation, they really don't have a good parental controls app, so I would encourage you to go online, sign into the accounts, and you can Google like PlayStation parental controls and sign in with that, and that would go a long way to be able to better address the parental control side of things. Sometimes, really, the systems or the settings on the game systems themselves are just they're just not enough, unfortunately. Um, an appropriate amount of time to spend playing video games like Fortnite, Roblox daily, weekly. I think that's going to be based on per family. For us, like with our kids, as long as everything's done at home, and by no means am I the standard for this, but at home, as long as everything's good, we typically limit our children to having an hour um, per day, depending on what they're doing. But like during sports, stuff like that, they really don't play all that much. But on a weekend or something like that, when it's not in season for sports, an hour, maybe two, depending on who they're playing with. If they have a friend over, stuff like that, we'll kind of be flexible with that. Um, so, um, with age ratings on certain games, I see so many that are labeled as a group like 9 plus, 13 plus, 17 plus. What's the difference in these? To me, this says that the 9 plus will see the same as the 17 plus. So, yeah, I would say it's a let me go back to that slide. Um, so with that, um, yeah, up to that age, I I wouldn't necessarily. I would stay around the age that it says. So like with E for everyone, it's typically good for everyone. So yeah, a 9-year-old playing an E for everyone game like Mario, it would be the same as me at 34 seeing the same content, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the content itself is bad. Um, Now 10 and up, I wouldn't let anybody under 10 play that game. Just like PG-13 on a movie or something like that. You can, and that's all going to be based varied on what you I feel like you want to approve in your family, stuff like that. So yeah, I wouldn't let anybody under that age, like 10 and up or 9 and up or whatever, be exposed to that. And I would stick typically around to that age. So if it's teen, you're around 13 and up, I wouldn't necessarily let them play a mature rated game, and I wouldn't let my 10-year-old play a 13 and up rated game kind of deal. So I hope that answers that. Um, any other two-player co-op games that you'd recommend for parents to play with their kids? Um, Mario. I'm gonna for co-op playing with your kids. You just cannot beat a Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch right now they're extremely affordable. They're on the end of their like the Nintendo Switch, I believe, released in 2016, so it's been out for 8 years now. It's they're about to release a new Nintendo Switch next year. Um, right now is a very good time to buy a Switch. They're not going to just do away with the old Switch when they release the new one. So games like Mario Kart, Nintendo Switch Sports. If any of you played on the Wii back in the day, and there was Wii Sports, games like that have been absolutely amazing. There's a game called Unravel 2 on Xbox that's really good. Um, there's a game that we've recently discovered in the hospital that has been a game that I downloaded. I didn't think anyone would ever play, but it's called Entitled Goose Game. It's E for everyone, and you're literally a goose just being mischievous and trying to accomplish goals together. So it's a two-player game, and that's been very good for me in my position to play with patience as you're kind of working towards common goals together. A game that I love is Stardew Valley. I think you can have up to 8 now on a farm on Stardew Valley. It's kind of like the old 8-bit, like Super Nintendo graphics. But you can play that with your kids too. It's a lot of fun and kind of have a common goal in there. Animal Crossing, some other places too, but or some other games too. But I think Nintendo is absolutely the best way to go on that. Yeah, it's just really good. VR games. So with VR games, I would recommend like with the Oculus, you can mirror what your kiddos are playing onto your phone, so you can actually see them live while they're playing, so you can see what they're playing while they're playing. Um, I would definitely recommend checking into that. It's like any other game platform. Um, it's like any other game platform. You can set ratings for what they can and can't get game wise, stuff like that. But I would definitely check in every now and then through your phone and just mirror that to your phone just to be able to see. And make sure you do your research on what games are being downloaded, what things are being downloaded. Um, uh, Watching YouTube on a Switch. So if you want to turn that access off, I would recommend just going in and like you go to the YouTube app on the Switch, you can hit the plus button and actually remove it completely from the Switch itself. And then through the parental controls app, you can block downloading apps without permission. That's what I would do personally. For my kids, I want them to I don't want them to see the app at all, just so that that the temptation's not there, or them trying to figure out every way to figure out my password or passcode, stuff like that. So I would just recommend going in and deleting that from the Switch entirely, and then blocking any downloading without permission. Any other questions? So with UK parents, I've had parents come by and just ask questions anytime. If you want to reach out to me, my email is cody.dean@uky.edu. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. I do not mind helping kind of navigate some of this, or navigate if you're looking to get a game system and you're not sure which one would be best for your child, stuff like that. Please feel free to reach out. I'm 100% accessible for that to be able to help guide you through that process, because I do understand gaming is my thing. It's always been my thing, but it's not everybody's, and it can be a thing that is intimidating to start, especially with so many different game consoles out there. So absolutely feel free to reach out to me through email, and I'll be happy to help you navigate that process.